Hey guys, so today I'm sitting down getting ready to just test and retest a bunch of makeup that I feel like I've been kind of sitting on. Some of it is actually like brand new to me, a couple things that I picked up from Sephora recently. I also have a few things I've received in PR that I'm excited about, including these beautiful new palettes from Beauté. They came out with this floral collection, and let me just show you real quick. They all have dried flowers inside of the outer packaging. Isn't that so cool? Yeah, my jaw dropped when I first saw these palettes. And they launch on April 24th, so just a couple days from now. Yeah, I guess that's Monday, tomorrow, the day you're watching this. But I have been having a very hard time keeping my mouth shut about these because they are so pretty. So anyway, we're gonna play around with at least one of those today. And then these are really the two makeup things I picked up in the Sephora sale. I ended up getting the LYS Triple Fix Translucent Setting Powder because I am almost out of my last remaining powder, so I needed a new one, and so many of you guys recommended this one to me. Also, another one that you guys made me buy is the Fenty Beauty Bronzer in the shade In the Sun. I talked about this in my video where I was decluttering my Sephora loves list. This was one of the things that had been on that list for a long time, and in the comments of that video, so many of you were like, that is the most amazing bronzer I've ever tried, like, you would love it, so you guys talked me right into it. I'm really excited. I have used it once so far, and let me tell you, the one time I tried it, I was blown away. It was beautiful, so really excited to play with that again today, and yeah, just a few other little goodies. I also wanted to use my e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter. I do need to apply sunscreen though because I haven't done that yet today. Since I think I want to mainly use this e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter as my base, like as my foundation today, so I'm gonna go with a slightly more matte sunscreen. I'm gonna do one that I feel like I haven't tested enough times yet. This is the Rovectin Aqua Soothing UV Protector SPF 50. I also have the Double Tone Up UV Protector from them. This one is a tinted one. This one is kind of like the non-tinted version. Guys can get a little sneak peek of this sunscreen. Okay, so there's that sunscreen on. I don't think I said, but this is a mineral sunscreen, and it looks pretty good. I would say that white cast is minimal. There's like, you can see a little bit around my hairline, just a tiny bit. Normally I'll just take like one of my little washcloths that I keep at my vanity and kind of go like that, and it wipes it away. Okay, so that sunscreen has had probably 10 or so minutes to sink in, and now I'm ready to apply the rest of my makeup. So I'm going to use this e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter. This will be the second time I've used this as a foundation, like a standalone foundation. Most of the time I just use it as a foundation mixer, but I wanted to show you guys how this looks worn as a base. So I've just dotted it on. You can see it is not a perfect shade match. It is a little bit too warm for me, but it's sheer enough that it blends out pretty well on my skin tone. Alright, so there's that. You can see very glowy. That was just one layer, and I did blend that out with a sponge. I think the first time I wore this as a foundation, I blended it with a brush, but I don't currently have any clean foundation brushes, so it also makes a loud sound when you stick the applicator back in there. But I'm just going to build up a little bit more on the cheeks. So you can see it's definitely glowy, but I like that it's not metallic. Like, it doesn't look like I put liquid highlight all over my face, kind of like the Supergoop Glow Screen if you've ever tried that product. It's basically like a liquid highlighter, but this is more just luminous rather than being sparkly or glittery or anything like that. So, and then of course, once I powder my face, it'll tone down some of that glow a little bit, so it'll look even a bit more natural. But I think that makes a beautiful base, and I do feel like it just evens out my skin tone very nicely. I would say that's light coverage, kind of similar to a skin tint, or, you know, something like the LYS skin tint, or even the Essence Pretty Natural foundation. I would say it's about on par with those as far as coverage. And then I don't have a new concealer, so I'm just gonna, anything I don't have something new to try, I'll just default to my everyday makeup drawer, and right now I have my Urban Decay Stay Naked concealer in there, so this will be my concealer. And if I wanted to bump up the coverage of that foundation, I could add some concealer, but honestly, I feel like I'm pretty happy with the coverage. I don't have anything major that I want covered today, just, you know, some very small breakouts, but nothing too noticeable. My skin's been doing pretty well lately, knock on wood. I am still taking spironolactone. I was on it for like 3 months in 2021, then I went off of it because I was having some pain in my right kidney, like that region of like my mid back there. And like it felt like an internal organ, you know, it didn't feel like a muscle or anything. So I went off of the spironolactone at that time and the pain went away, which was good. But my doctor recommended that I try it again, and I'm just at a lower dose now. And I'm mainly on it to treat hormonal acne. So now I'm on 25 milligrams, whereas before I was on 50 the first time around. And it definitely hasn't completely cleared up my acne like it did when I was on 50 milligrams, but it's at a very manageable level for me. For me, like I've had acne pretty much my entire, not just adult life, but also like my entire adolescence. So I used to have it way more severe. So for me, if I just have a few little breakouts, I don't even really notice. It doesn't really faze me because it's just nothing compared to what it used to be. So I feel like I'm at a really good place with my skin. I'm feeling a lot more just confident and happy with where things are at. I'm also still using tretinoin, but tretinoin on its own, while it did help my acne, it didn't seem to be quite enough. But anyway, so that's a little skin update that no one asked for. But I'm also going to just tap a little bit of my Sigma color. You guys, okay, I keep hitting pan on things on camera, but I just hit pan. I just hit pan on the other side of this. So I hit pan in this deeper shade like a couple weeks ago in another video. I think that was in my everyday makeup drawer video at the beginning of April, and now we have another pan over on this side. I knew it would happen probably any day now because I use both sides pretty much every time I get ready. But I also recently saw Too Much Tosh mention that she hit pan on this really quickly too. And she was saying that it has a lot less product in it than most other color correctors. So yeah, I've never hit pan on a product this quickly. I've had this since January, and granted I have been using it like every day pretty much since I got it, but you know, usually it takes me a lot longer to hit pan on something like this, so probably not the best value. Once I, you know, get close to using that up, I might start looking for like a cheaper alternative. So that's my base. I am going to be using a cream blush today. This is from Ciate London. It's their Dewy Blush Glossy Cheek Tint. And I've used this a couple of times. The few times I've used it, it was just kind of tricky to work with, and it went on a little bit patchy, especially when I dotted it directly onto my cheeks. So I'm going to start with it on the back of my hand. I just took a little drop. And it feels like a lip gloss or something. Like it has a very glossy, somewhat oily feel to it. A little bit more so than I would normally want in a blush. It's a really pretty color though. So I'm just going to see how that blends this way. This might be just a little bit too much glow for me. Between the Halo Glow from e.l.f. and then this. It's kind of sticky feeling. Okay, that did apply a lot better, I think. Just a lot smoother, not nearly as patchy as it did the first time. I'm actually, for this side, I'm just going to pick up some of it on my hand and then go in with the brush. Okay, I think that's probably the best way to apply it. Just pick some up on your brush, get it like evenly on there, and then go in. Okay, so that's, I'm glad I figured that out, because the first few times I used it, when I tapped it on with my fingers, it just did not go on evenly. But that's pretty. I do like that color a lot. I don't feel like I have any other blushes, or at least not liquid or cream blushes, that are quite that color, like that almost berry purpley color. It also has a scent. Like, if you didn't tell me what this was and you just gave me this tube and asked me to guess like what this product was meant for, I probably would have guessed that it was like a lip tint or lip gloss because it feels and smells a lot like lip gloss. It doesn't say that you can use it on your lips, but I feel like you probably can. I might try that. You know what? I'm gonna try it now because I'm just curious. I guess it's, I don't think it's technically lip safe, so you know, I don't know. I don't really care too much about that. Oh, that is pretty. Ooh. Okay, that's really nice. Like a sheer berry lip tint. Feels hydrating. Wow. Yeah, I almost feel like I prefer it on the lips. So that's the only cream cheek product I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and set the rest of my face. And I'm going to try this LYS setting powder for the first time. I haven't even dipped into this yet. Let me tap out my creases here first. And I'm going to try this on both the under eyes and the face. Normally I prefer loose powders on the under eyes, but I'm definitely open to pressed powders as well. And in this powder, I just got the shade Resilience, which they say is translucent. So far, I would say that looks pretty good on my under eyes. I do feel like I have some dry skin, which I don't think is the fault of this powder because I noticed it before I went in with the powder too. It could possibly be that this sunscreen is pilling a little bit. This hasn't been my favorite mineral sunscreen so far, but so I'm gonna blame it on that for now, rather than this powder. Alright, let's try this on the face as well. Lately I've been using this giant Eco Tools full powder brush for my face powder. I used to use this more for bronzer, but I really like it for setting the face. I think even better than bronzer. So right off the bat, I'm noticing this powder really doesn't have much kick up. Like when you dip your brush in, it's not one of those powders that's going to just like kick up a dust of powder as you pick it up on your brush, which I kind of like because you can control how much you're getting a little bit more easily. And since this does say it's translucent, I'm actually going to try this even over my blush because that blush is very like almost tacky on its own. It doesn't really set down at all, which I don't necessarily mind, but I kind of just want a smooth, powdery finish. And I also wanted to test to see how translucent this is. It definitely is translucent because you can still see pretty much all of the blush. I don't feel like it took away much of the color. It really just took down the shine a little bit, which I do like. So, all right, so far, definitely had to dip in there like quite a few times. Now, granted, I do like to use a fair amount of powder. I don't pile it on, but I do want just like a nice even layer all over my skin. I can't stand when I feel like there are like little areas of my face that didn't get set. Like I feel like I can tell when there's like a little, like I can kind of see if there's an area that's still shiny or something. I just want an even coating of powder, and I do feel like I was able to get that with this. This Ciate blush definitely has like a staining effect to it because anytime I've put it on the back of my hand, that stain actually sticks around for a long time. Like I wiped it off with my rag here and you can still see like left behind a stain, which I think will be nice for just the longevity aspect. Alright, next up for this Fenty bronzer, this is probably the product I'm most excited about in this whole video. When I was placing my Sephora order, I knew I wanted to get just a replacement powder and also a replacement lash serum. I got the one from The Ordinary. But I wanted to get just one like new fun product to try, and I've really been dying to try Fenty. This is actually my first ever product from Fenty, and so many of you were giving it just glowing reviews, so I just couldn't resist. Let's just go. I have used this once before, and I will say the first time I used it, I was really impressed. I would say this is like the perfect bronzer tone for me because you can see it is a little bit warm toned, but it's not orangey in the slightest. And it also is pretty much the perfect depth. I really like for my bronzers to be like really no deeper than this. This is pretty perfect because I feel like I don't have to be too careful and it doesn't go on muddy at all. But like, look at that. It almost has like just the slightest, almost pinky red undertone to it, which to me is perfect because for me, like if I were to get a natural tan, it's gonna have a little bit of like a reddish pink undertone to it because I do like, I'm pretty fair, so I do burn before I tan. And so I just feel like this gives me a little bit more of a realistic bronzed effect. Okay, yeah, I definitely love this bronzer. No regrets so far with that purchase. I think that was the right choice. I really wanted to get one of the Rare Beauty highlighters in this sale, but by the time I went to place my order, all three of the shades that I think would work for me were sold out. So that just wasn't meant to be this time, I guess. So with that being said, I don't have any new highlighters, so I'm just gonna go with my Project Pan highlighter. This is the Aether Beauty Pink Diamond Dust. I always get the shade names mixed up. This is Pink Diamond Dust. It's the like golden peachy one. Hope this goes okay with this blush. I think it will. Oh, I love that glistening sparkle this gives. I wish they still sold these. They really, like, I think they might sell a couple of shades on, like, what is it, the Detox Market, that website? I don't know, it's like a clean beauty type of site. But yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite highlighters. So, I'm gonna go ahead and prime my lids now. Alright, so for brows, I've been experimenting again with my ABH Dip Brow Pomade because I did put this in my Project Pan again, just to see if I could find a way that I like it. I used to use this every day, but lately I've been more into my NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel. But I'm trying to get back into this because I would really like to use this up. Actually, what I'm gonna do, so I've been experimenting with a bunch of different combinations of ways to use this. I'm actually gonna go in first with my NYX Brow Gel, and then use the pomade to kind of fill in any gaps. I did just trim my brows, so I think they'll be on their best behavior today. Okay, so back to the Ciate blush on the lips. I do feel like it's starting to look a little bit patchy, and it's kind of gathering anywhere I have like lines in my lips or any kind of dryness, like towards the inside. Oh wait. Okay, but I'm able to smooth it out again. Yeah, I just kind of went over it with my finger and now it looks really good again. So, maybe not the best for the lips. I mean, it's not really meant for the lips, so, but I do think that color looks really nice, and I like that just like almost lip stain look that it has. Alright, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this Dip Brow. See, I don't want to mess up the hold that I have, but I'm going to just take a little bit of this along like the bottom of my brows. Okay. That might actually be my favorite way to use this dip brow, at least of the most recent times I've used it. I think that's probably my favorite use for it. Just using it to fill in the last little bits of my brows, similar to the way that I normally would use my Lift and Snatch brow pen. Normally that's what I use after the brow gel to fill in any gaps, but I feel like the pomade does just as good a job, so that's good to know, especially because this brow pen I think is running low, so that way I can just use this in place of that and not have to immediately repurchase a brow pen. So yay, I'm glad I found a good way to use it. I also tried using this like before applying brow gel, but I felt like the gel would just lift this up and smear it around, and then I would get kind of a messy look. And then I've also tried just foregoing the brow gel altogether and doing my old combination, which was first going in with the e.l.f. Shape and Stay Brow Wax to just push my brows into place, then going in with this. I still like that combination too, but I just prefer the extra hold that that brow gel gives me. And this does give some hold, but it's really not the same as the NYX brow gel. That one really just glues my brows in place. This one more just shapes them and gives them a little bit of hold. But alright, so let's talk about this new collection from Ace Beauté. So they came out with 4 new palettes in this line, their floral collection, and I have used 3 out of the 4. The only one I haven't used is the Fleur palette. I think I'm gonna save this one. I'm just gonna leave that plastic coating on there, and probably save this one for a giveaway of some kind. Looks really pretty. I'm just not big into purples, so I don't really feel like I need a full-blown purple palette, but this does look beautiful if you do like purples. And the dried flowers in there are just such a cool touch. It has this clear coating with the name on it, and then behind there are the dried, like, pressed flowers, which I just think is so cool. Then there's Flora, which is a yellow palette. This one I've used a couple times and I really like it. I think this one is going to be so fun in the summer. I also love that it has some like fiery reds and this duochrome here. Then Begonia, that's this one. I love the color of these flowers, this like rich red color. So this one is so pretty. This is more of like a pink and green color story. They all have really beautiful duochromes in them too. And then Calla. This is the more neutral of the bunch. I love the cool toned vibes of this. This looks like a great everyday neutral palette, and all four of these shimmers here are just gorgeous. So which one should I use today? I feel like, well, I'm wearing a yellow shirt, so I'm kind of thinking Flora. I think the yellow will be pretty with this berry cheek. We'll try it out. I just love yellow eyeshadow, especially in the spring. I just think it's so fun. So I've already primed my lids. I'm going to start out with this lighter of the two yellow mattes here. Oh yeah, I also do now have an affiliate code with Ace Beauté. It's just Sarah Rose, and I think it's 10% off. Yeah, that is a really beautiful yellow, great color payoff. All right, now I want to take this slightly deeper yellow here, also a matte, kind of a more mustardy shade, on a slightly smaller crease brush. And I'll just build that up, just more targeted in the crease itself rather than blending it up as high as the other one. Working that into the crease. And I'll take a little bit here in the outer corner. I don't think I had used this shade yet, so that's really pretty. I think this palette is going to be beautiful in the summer, but also into the fall. Like, these are total fall tones to me too. All right, next I'm going to dip into this reddish brown matte here on the end, and I'm just going to pack that in my outer corner. All right, so then going into this deepest matte shade, we're just using, I might just use all the mattes today, we'll see. But I'm just going to grab a little bit of that shade and just focus that in right above the lash line here in the outer corner. And then going back to this crease brush and just blending all of that. All right, I do feel like as I blended all that, it did like blend away some of those deeper mattes, so I'm just going back in with the reddish brown. I do overall really like Ace's formula, but the only shades I sometimes have trouble with are their mattes. They have great pigmentation, but sometimes they are just a little tricky to work with, a little bit tricky to blend. Like, you see how I feel like it's getting a little patchy there in the outer corner? Now I'm going back in with that deepest matte. It's like a really deep or cool brown. And that's helping to just even things out a little bit more. I think I'm just gonna use every shade in here. Cause like, there's 3 shimmers, and that's how many shimmers I normally use. So let's first start with this duochrome. That is such a pretty shade. I mean, take a look. A fiery red base, and then a golden green shift. And I'm just layering that here in the center of my lid, overlapping it a little bit with those mattes in the outer corner. Look at how sparkly that is. Here, let me zoom even more. Okay, so then I want to take some of this gold color here. Haven't used this one yet. Ooh, that's a really pretty metallic. Definitely not quite as shifty and duochrome as that previous shade. And this, I'm just tapping on the inner third, or really inner half of my lid. And then finally for this lightest shimmer, this is like a yellow and green duochrome. Has almost more of like a topper sort of effect to it. It's a little bit more sheer in the base. And I like to use my pinky to get like maximum impact there. Oh, that is so pretty. I love, like, oh my god, I love these shades. I love the way they work together. But as I've said before, I definitely think like Ace Beauté, where they really excel is with their shimmer formula. Like, I mean, I haven't blended that yet, but like, look at that. It's so just smooth and wet looking. Next, I'm just taking that shader brush that I used in this deepest matte, and I'm not picking up any additional shadow. I'm just using whatever's left on that brush to lightly define my lower lash line. This is my favorite way to do my lower lash line these days because it always just gives me the perfect amount of definition. I don't like anything too dark and heavy on my lower lash line. I just think that gives the perfect amount. So that's what I've been doing lately almost every time I do my makeup. Just gonna blend a little bit here. I love the way those shades work together. So I think this is the third time I've worn this palette, but this is the only time I've used every single shade. Okay, actually I just realized I don't think I used this shade, did I? No, I don't think so. I used this one, but not this one. So I used all but one of the shades in here. I mean, I guess I could add a little bit if I wanted to. Sure, why not? Let's just grab a tiny bit of that. And sort of work that in up here. Ooh, yeah, I like the fiery, like, red that brings in. Ooh, yes. Love that. Okay, so this berry lip definitely doesn't go very well with this eye look. I'm gonna use this brown liquid liner. This is the Annabelle eye ink. It's a dual-ended liner in brown. I really like both of the tips of this, especially this long one, because it's really nice and precise and a little bit flexible. That's really easy to work with. But I feel like I've only had this liner for a couple of months, and I do feel like it's already kind of dried out a little bit, so I'm just not getting a ton of color payoff with it. So there's that liner. I mean, it does still show up, but I feel like it's just not as juicy as I would like it to be. Okay, so an update on this Tarte Maneater mascara. I've been testing this for the past couple of weeks. I do like this mascara. I don't think it's going to become a favorite. I have noticed sometimes it smudges on me and like flakes a little bit by the end of the day. So that's kind of a deal breaker for me. I do like the brush a lot. It's very separating and very lengthening, but I don't feel like it gives me as much volume as I want, which is funny because this is supposed to be a volumizing mascara. So I just don't really think it does anything that remarkable for the price point. It looks good on my lashes, but I like the Milani Anti-Gravity Mascara even better. I feel like that one gives me a lot more volume. So you can see there, I did about 2 full coats on the top lashes and then just 1 light coat on the bottom. I do like the way it looks. I think it looks great, and I'll enjoy using this mascara, but I don't think it's something I would ever like purchase the full size of. All right, I'm gonna take this lip off. Hopefully I can get it off all the way. I don't know if it's something else on instead. That cheek tint, you can see it left a little bit of a stain behind on my lips, but nothing too major. So I'm just going to do my Project Pan lip combo here, the Mented Peach Lip Pencil and the not Urban Decay, what? Burt's Bees Gloss Lip Crayon in Santorini Sunrise. Okay, well, I really like how this look came together. I definitely think this blush color is probably not what I would have chosen to go with this eye look. Probably would have picked something a little bit peachier for the eye look, but I did like this blush more this time than I did the previous couple of times I had used it. I will leave a pinned comment just giving you any updates or observations on the way things wore, and I'll let you know if this blush held up all day like I am expecting it will, given that it has that sort of staining effect. Really love this eye look. I think of all of these palettes, this Flora one from Ace is my favorite. I just think this is a color story that I feel like my collection has been missing. I love the yellows and reds in this. I just think that is so fun. But I'm also really into both the Calla and the Begonia color stories. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to play with these throughout the rest of the spring. And you know, throughout the year as well. I just love that floral theme. I think it's so fun. Both of these Sephora purchases so far, I would say, are winners. I mean, I have only used the LYS powder once so far. I do feel like it effectively set my face, and I like that it was translucent so I could use it over my blush. I'm not sure I loved it on the under eyes. I'll have to keep testing it that way. It may just be that I just prefer loose powders on the under eyes, so this might just be more of a face setting powder, but I'll let you guys know. Of course, on all of these things, I'll keep you posted. The bronzer too, I am so happy I got this. I just feel like I wanted one more powder bronzer in my collection, and this is perfect. It's a little bit deeper than my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, so I think this will be a really good one in the summertime. I'm excited about that. And my base, the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter, this, I mean, I have to say, I feel like it looks really nice on my skin, especially now that I've set it with powder. It took away a little bit of that shine, and I just think it, like, my skin just has such a nice, like, natural luminosity to it. So really happy with this product too. That might be one of my favorite purchases so far this year. But thank you guys so much for hanging out today. I hope you had fun. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I do also have a Patreon and a channel membership if you'd like to support my channel. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye!